Welcome to yet another Car of the Year video, and as you can tell, today we have an electric car. We have the MG ZS Electric. Electric cars will be up and coming in Singapore, especially with the government introducing more incentives as well as stopping the sale of internal combustion engine cars by 2040. That's less than 20 years away. But of course, today we have electric cars in all shapes and sizes. And here, the MG ZS EV is a crossover, and it has won our electric car of the year. Some of you might be a little bit confused. You might be thinking we are talking about the MG HS and this ZS is just an electric version of that car. But this is actually a smaller car. This is a smaller crossover compared to the SUV HS. But as you can tell up front, it does look pretty similar. It does have a very sporty and mature design. We do like that a lot with the ZS Electric as well as the HS. But there is more to like about the ZS Electric inside, so let's go check it out. I mentioned earlier that the ZS is a smaller crossover compared to its bigger brother, the HS. But if you look at the back, it is quite surprising. There is quite a bit of space back here. There is quite a bit of headroom, quite a bit of knee room, quite a bit of leg room. Now, I am quite surprised because this is not supposed to be a large SUV or an SUV. This is a crossover essentially, and it is electric. Now, the other thing I do like when it comes to comfort is that the seats are nice and soft. Now, a lot of manufacturers are making seats harder and harder in a bid, I guess, to make the car feel more sporty. But over here, that's not the case. It's all about comfort. That is very important, especially when you're bringing your family around. Now, even the middle seat does very well. There isn't sort of a design to cocoon only two people over here. Someone like me can be quite comfortable. And you do have a flat floor over here. No aircon vents at the back, but you do have a charging point if you want to charge your electronic devices using this electric car. Now, let's get to the front seats. Up front, the ZS Electric is a usable and practical space. You do have deep door pockets and other slots to put all your stuff. But what I do like is how usable it is when you are on the road. Now, when it comes to electric cars, there are a few drive modes, there are a few settings that you can adjust while you are driving. So, when it comes to drive modes, you do have a mode button over here. You have 3 preset drive modes from Sport, Normal to Eco. The other thing which I do like is this switch over here which says KERS. Now, KERS of course is what you hear in F1, but in the MG ZS Electric is of course talking about regenerative braking. There are 3 levels that you can adjust from its lightest to its strongest. Now, having a switch like this is quite useful. I have seen some electric cars where you have to drive through menus just to adjust how strong you want regen braking to be. Now, regen braking is very useful because if you want to slow down without touching your brakes, you can just quickly pull a pedal or adjust the switch to do that. So it is very good that MG has put this switch over here. The other switch, of course, is battery. If you need to see your battery range, you can immediately pull this switch over here and see it. Other things, of course, is when you're driving around, you do have an actual power gauge which you can easily refer to, and it shows where your efficiency range as well as your boost range is. So when you're driving around, your throttle modulation, your one pedal drive sort of behavior that this MG ZS offers is very easy to manage. Now, talking about infotainment, of course, this does come with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as standard. In all, it is quite complete as a car as well as an electric car. Now, let's find out how the MG ZS Electric does on the road. So let's start with the basics, how it feels on the road. Well, if you ask me, this car is very quiet. Well, it is expected because this is an EV, so you don't have an internal combustion engine and all the rumbles and the noises that come with it. But what I do like is how easy it is to drive. Now, if you put it into eco mode, the steering becomes very light and it becomes very easy to maneuver. But if you need a bit more performance, all you have to do is flip this mode button, put it into sport and step on it. It gets me every time because this MG ZS EV makes 353 Newton meters of torque. Now, this is an electric, so it will deliver all that 353 Newton meters of torque in an instant. So if you ask me, it is quite easy to get in and out of tight spots on the expressway. If you see gaps in traffic, you definitely can go for it. So when you are in the strongest curse level or regenerative braking, it feels almost like you could drive this car with one pedal. In fact, it is quite a cool thing to be driving with just one pedal. And when you're dealing with, like what I have now, start-stop traffic slowing down out of sudden on the Pan Island Expressway, it is quite useful to have regenerative braking because the moment you let off the brakes, the car slows down. And of course, by doing that, you will charge the battery again. Let's talk a little bit about comfort. Now, the MG ZS Electric does come with very comfort-based suspension. It is nice and supple. The main thing that I like about this is because a lot of crossovers and SUVs nowadays tend to have very harsh riding suspension in a bid to control body roll. But body roll doesn't really matter if you're not really pushing the car, and here it is very good that you have such soft and comfortable suspension, so you don't have to deal with all those bumps and ruts when you're out on the road. Especially now on the highway, on the expressway, it is indeed very comfortable. In all, the MG ZS Electric does well, not only just as an electric car, but also as a car, as a crossover that you want to buy and drive around Singapore with your family. It is very quiet, it is very easy to drive, surprisingly powerful. To be honest, I really think that this is the perfect electric car for Singapore. And that's one of the reasons why it is our electric car of the year.